Welcome back to the hardcore world. In our last episode, we came over here underneath the potato and carrot build and built an entire trading hall. The carrot guys are okay. I love carrots. But these potato guys, they think that they can run up the prices and I won't do anything. I'm not gonna stand for that, okay? They will all be re-cured eventually. Yeah, we came and added this little underground section right here. Then we also came over to the wool farm and we added a bunch of employees and they seem to be all doing fine. Here's this week's payment. 1 cobblestone. Fine, okay, you drive a hard bargain. 2 cobblestone. And then we also built this build right in front of me, which I think looks beautiful. Yeah, probably my favorite part about this build is how you can kind of see it almost every angle of the village. It just kind of peeks through. Like especially coming down this little road over here, it's just, oh, that looks nice. So for today's episode, it's going to be a little bit different than normal. My solution for the first 1,000 days for getting more moss was I'd come over to this part of the village instead of the sheep pen. Wait, where did it go? Right here, actually. Oh, there's just this little cave down here, but you'd come down here, you can kind of see some of the remnants. But this cave, like, I just take out little layers of moss everywhere. The worst has gotta be here. This ground was like to here before, and with like most of this, it's usually like a layer or 2 higher than where it is right now. And this isn't gonna work anymore. I'm sorry. I'm sick of this. So today we're gonna build a moss farm. I really should be building like an iron farm. So yeah, I think I'm gonna come over to this side of the village, right behind the starter base, and probably build this house that has the moss farm in it somewhere around here. This has gotta go. This is my bee setup. So whenever I've had to use like beehives and builds, while I'm gathering the resources, I'll set like timers, and every however so minutes I'll just come in here and harvest whatever we've got. I've had this set up here for at least like 700 days since this has been built, and so it'd be a shame to just remove the bees. So I was thinking this build could both be a moss farm on the inside, and on the outside it'll look like a beekeeper house or whatever. And so I guess we also need to make a bee farm inside of this house too, which will be cool, but that's more work. And the reason why this build is going to be a little bit different, why this video is going to be a little bit different, is because I haven't planned this build at all. Usually I'll do that off camera and then start recording when I know what I'm doing. But instead, we're going to go and build this build together. I've been getting a lot of comments that are like, hey, show us how you build, because I've developed a build style that's pretty alright. There are definitely areas that I can improve on. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how I build. I say we just walk through this build together, and so you can kind of get a glimpse of how I build. And the first step in doing that is to get off of the hardcore world and get onto the build testing world. This is usually where all of my builds get planned out. I think this looks ugly. I built this like a 1.5 years ago, and it looks weird. Some of the stuff like closer to where the world spawn is like 2 or 3 years old. If I used to build like this, now I'm building stuff like this, like it's definitely like possible to get better at building even if you're not that good. I came from not great build to okay, pretty okay. We're gonna come over here and we're gonna build the mock-up of what this house is gonna look like, and we're gonna walk through it together so you can kind of see what's going on in my mind. Ew, that sounded so weird. So if step 1 was get onto the test world, step 2 is to get your drink of choice ready in hand. I've got a Dr. Pepper, and inside of cans they're way too fizzy, but it's what I'm gonna go with. Okay. Step 2, you turn off my video and you go find somebody that actually knows how to build. My builds they're all right, but they're definitely not the best. They've got some problems with them. So in the description, I've got a whole bunch of different builders and channels that I really enjoy watching for their Minecraft builds. So definitely check them out if you are actually needing some build help, I guess, or I don't know. And step 3, if you're still here, hello. To me, I find one of the hardest parts of making builds is just coming up with ideas. So instead, I go on the internet, find ideas. You can just search up medieval buildings, and you can find a lot of really good ideas. So the next step in building is making a whole bunch of different shapes. I like to usually make one main shape and then build different shapes to go around it. It'll make sense as it comes up. You can kind of see I went through a lot of different iterations for this process. I couldn't really find a shape or a bunch of shapes that I really liked, and I also realized I couldn't make some of them work. And when I'm kind of stuck and can't figure out how the build is supposed to be, I like to just get started with what I have. And that's what I did. This box is about to turn into a beautiful build. This is the part of the build where I try to figure out where all the entrances are and all the windows and everything, and also what material everything is going to be made out of. Whenever I get bored of a certain section or I'm out of ideas, I just move on to another wall. Now, I know on the outside, it may seem like I'm the best builder of all time. I actually have a lot of trouble with this whole process. I had a lot of ideas that didn't end up working. Like, look at this. This is very ugly. The whole process for making this build literally took me like 5 hours, which is ridiculous because it doesn't even look like that kind of a build. It doesn't look like 5 hours worthy. Basically, the whole build process looks like adding a basic structure, adding a bunch of texturing blocks, and then adding windows, doors, and details and that kind of thing. And it looks nice. So yeah, that's basically how I build. Someday I might go into more depth, maybe a whole video of me literally just designing a build. Who knows? But the basic idea to build is just put down a basic structure, texture it, add the finer details, and that's how you do it. It's also important to build. I found that just building a lot, you know, experimenting with different window designs or different roof designs, you'll kind of gain more of a resume, I guess, of different things you know how to build or different designs for a certain part of a build that you can use in all your builds, if that makes sense. I don't know. Just like that, the build is done and we are ready to start building it in the hardcore world. It's me again. About a week later, it's time to do everybody's favorite section of the Fwhip video, resource gathering with video game non-copyright music over it. Yay! So I don't have a lot of stone, I'm not gonna lie. My supplies are drained, so for part of this project I need to dig a big hole to make the moss farm. And yeah, I'm gonna do that to get this stone. That's all I wanted to say. That was going to give me enough stone to finish this project. But back to the resource gathering. I think I've got all the resources for the build in these chests. But I gotta get rid of this bee setup temporarily. Yeah. Get in the hive. What are you doing? Don't be weird. Don't be weird. I guess I'll leave that hatch down there for now. But it's time to get building. My favorite process because it takes forever and it's very boring. Shut up, big kitty. Oh, I don't have any of... What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Ew, what are these? This is weird. It's just too easy. I don't know, I kind of get bored of how many diamonds I get. I actually had calls from the president saying, hey, we need to increase the U.S. treasury. find me some diamonds. And I went, no, sir. I've got my own things to get done. I've got to make a moss farm. That's what I told him. Okay, for this time, let's start building. It's crazy raining, but it's like it's like sunset too. It's sunset rain. The exterior, all done. You've seen it like 6 times so far. I did change something though. I put very basic banner dyes on all the banners to kind of help make the awning just a little more unique, I guess. With the outside done, it was time to move to the inside. I already had a full interior already designed, but interiors are not my strong suit. I'm still really bad at those. I didn't feel like I could show how to build a good interior when I'm also learning myself, but maybe in the future. Speaking of that interior, let's talk about it. So I wanted to have cause it's a moss farm, I wanted to have the interior be like a nice little garden space, if that makes sense, which are really easy to do. I just made a whole bunch of different plant potters, put whatever flowers I wanted to put in there, and it looks nice. It's pretty easy. And then over on the other side of the building, that's where I had the storage for the moss farm. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how this interior turned out. Like I said earlier, I'm not very good at these. I've been challenging myself to make interiors for these builds because I usually don't, but ever since I started this whole channel and world, I've been trying to do some sort of interior with every build, and it's been helping a lot. Like, I've been noticing a good change in the way I do interiors and stuff to make them not look absolutely awful. And with a couple more finishing touches, the interior of the moss farm was all done, and all that's left to do is to get the farm all built, which I was not excited for. Now, in order to get the farm built, I need to get all the components. I also needed to go mining for redstone and iron because this farm was expensive. And then I had to go out thousands of blocks to find a iceberg and then finally finish crafting the rest of the stuff I was going to need for the farm. I'm so tired of this. That's all the resources. It's really late and I've got work in the morning, but I've got to finish this. Okay, I know what you're thinking. The farm is already done. What are you doing? What happened was replay mod sucks. There I am, just building away. I have a replay mod recording going while building the farm so I could get the cool cinematic angles and have this be really quick and easy. But no, I don't know if the recording was too long or if replay mod just sucks, but I exited the recording, I quit the world, and it usually has this little save progress bar, but it was stuck at like 67% for like an hour. So I was up later than I wanted to be because I was waiting for that to finish, but also it just wasn't working. So what I ended up doing was quitting Minecraft and then going back into it because usually it says, hey, this didn't save properly. Do you want to recover it? And you go, yeah. And I was like, sweet, it'll work. It'll all be fine. That menu never popped up. I don't have the recording footage anymore. And usually I will do replay mod and also record my POV. And 99% of the time I'm like, wow, this is a waste of storage space. My 5 terabyte hard drive I bought is already full and this is not helping. But this time I was like, you know what? I'll just do the replay mod. And yeah, of course. This whole recording is a nightmare. And that's why it's coming out so late. Because I don't want to work on it. Whoa, my computer is chugging as soon as I load into this world. Hello, it's future me from a month later. I didn't do a great job of explaining this farm, so I'm gonna do that now. So this is it. It is a raised work design, and it's genius, an absolute genius this guy is. So if you want to know how to build this farm, link in the description. I'm not going to go in too deep with how the farm works or anything because that's a little scummy. I did add some redstone stuff of my own. See, if we come over here, you've got 2 branching pathways with water. This one leads to a whole bunch of composters. Very cool. This pathway leads to just the exit tunnel. Once the stuff goes through the composters, it also goes to this exit tunnel. And from this exit tunnel, it'll go up, over top in the little attic space, and then down into the storage room. That took me so long to figure out how to do, trying to keep it in the little space I've made up there, but also trying to make it work because I'm not very good at redstone. But yeah, the farm works very, very good. You can see my redstone genius right here. You can definitely tell, like, all this redstone is nice, compact, and optimized. And then you come over here, and here is my redstone. Basically, if I flip the switch, it will switch the water pathway up top to go into each of the tunnels, one producing bone meal and one just producing moss, which is very cool. I was having one issue with the farm that I couldn't figure out for the life of me. I've since figured out, of course, but I had an extra block placed right above this piston. So this observer, see how it kind of moves? It would move over on top of here, activating the redstone, and then it would move back. It would activate the block, and then the block would activate the redstone. I hope that makes sense. And so basically it was double firing the bone meal mechanism, but I was still getting only the produce of one bone meal thing, so it wasn't really producing bone meal like it should because it was firing twice. And so yeah, I hope that kind of explains things. Back to past me. Okay, I'm pretty sure I've got the farm all built. That didn't take as long as I thought it would. It's working. It's working. With that all finished, it was time to get that collection system I was talking about earlier put in place. Oh shoot. So I pumped all the resources up to the attic space that wasn't being used, and it was basically just a series of tubes that would connect to the different storing systems. But besides that, it wasn't that much of a pain. Hi, it's Future Wheat again. So this is the whole system all finished and complete. It runs all the resources from the bottom up to here, goes through these little tubes, and then if it is bone meal, it'll be sorted out in this item sorter and be pumped over to these chests just with a hopper chain, and if it's anything but bone meal, it'll go this way into the moss system. Also, so this is the interior, and over here we've got this little shrine, and there's this torch here and a button. If the light is on, it's going to produce bone meal, but if you push this, it'll switch out all the water streams, and now it's producing moss. Here is all the redstone to do that. Yeah, so it switches it out, and now it's just going, instead of going to the bone meal area, it is going straight to the item tube. And I just found out all the moss was despawning because I had a problem, but now it's going in. Finally, now that that's been all sorted out, we can move on to the exterior. Another really boring part. It's just a pain. But to start, we have to tear down all the scaffolding I have on the outside. So now I was like, oh, we're gonna also make a bee farm because my bee setup was right here. I don't have time to do that unless I want to delay this episode another week. So we'll probably do that next time. It doesn't matter how good a build looks if the outside of it doesn't look like it blends in with the environment, or if you've done just nothing with the outside, it's gonna look pretty bad. So the first thing I had to do was prep the area. I had to get rid of the tree farm I had that was kind of in the way, and I also had to fix the terrain behind the build because I just didn't try. I just made it ugly, and I was gonna deal with it later, and now is later. Now that the terrain was looking okay, I wanted to make a little workshop area in front of the moss farm building. Eventually gonna have a little workshop area to work on the bee stuff, but for now, I'm just gonna make the ground look nice. Next step I needed to do was start making the pathways that would connect this building to the rest of the village. How I like to do it is I like to do a layer of coarse dirt, and then I'll detail it all out later with different blocks, but just having the basic shape going on can give me a better idea of how it's supposed to look and make sure it doesn't look stupid. This would also include the front door on the other side. I just added a basic path for now because I don't know how that whole beachfront area is going to look yet. But for now, I was going to just add some dirt into some areas to make the terrain flow a little bit better. And with the prep work done, we can finally get on to the good stuff. First, I wanted to add a little flower field on the backside of the starter base. One small problem, Big Kitty, our resident pillager, was right in the way, and he's got to be moved somewhere. Unfortunately, this guy is in the way, Big Kitty, and I've got just the place. Yeah. He will run the inn for now on. Look, he's just like, hey, what can I get for you? Ah, that's nice. Anyway, back to work. Oh! I need green dye. Oh! Green dye. Let's get back to the backside of the starter base. It feels nice to finally get this done because it's been over maybe like 800 days since I finished it, and I just haven't done anything with this backside. But now it's all connected and everything, and it looks nice. Next, I chose to put in a little wheat field in the other side of the path. With these two fields, that adds a little bit more detail to the build. I've got other things we'll add, but real quickly. So it's still in the phase of trying to produce its own bone meal, which is cool. It's doing it. It's working. So I'm gonna go get bones to kind of help the rejuvenating process. So it can be done trying to produce bone meal. And I can set up a couple more filters, and then it'll start producing instead of just trying to self-sustain. This nether trip went about as well as any of my nether trips, where I do the first thing that I wanted to do, and then I get heavily distracted. Big dip! Going back to the overworld, I could refill the bone meal areas and then get back to building again. And the last things I was going to add was a couple custom trees and then a bridge that would connect the two pathways together, finally linking this all back to the village. And with that, we're finished. Okay. And I think after adding some moss and mossy cobble onto the bridge, we're done for now. This area all needs to be detailed out eventually. Same with the portion up here. But overall, it's looking okay. I just don't know what those areas are supposed to look like yet. But yeah, ever since I figured out why the farm wasn't working, it's been chugging. Like, jeez. That's really with not that much time. So yeah, I definitely lost a lot of bone meal. And that's going to be it for this episode. I guess I'm breaking away from the upload schedule because, you know, I'd rather try to get good videos out than rush a video and be like, whoa, I got 3 iron this video, thanks for watching, or something stupid like that. Yeah, that's probably going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Sorry that it's been out so late. The next video I've planned is going to be awesome. It's just going to be amazing. So bear with me. It might take a little bit for it to come out. It's a bit of a bigger project. But yeah, thanks for watching.